Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, I got a pretty special video for you guys. I'm sorry this has nothing to do with gang stalking, but it's something that I've been working on. I'm one of those people who are really interested in the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs, as far as personality is concerned. And I wanted to do a video here to explain some of the findings that I've come to, and I think it's really interesting, especially for people who are interested in MBTI. It has to do a lot with, my focus here is basically was to come up with a theory about the masculine and feminine energies um, of the different personalities. So basically, what we can do here is we can look at which personalities have more of the masculine energy and which personalities have more of the feminine energy. And also, it's sort of like in a degree. Some are more masculine, some are more feminine, some are in between, and so on and so forth. So this is something I've been working on, and I have to admit that I took some elements of this from other places that I have found, but I've done some thinking about it and have reached certain conclusions that I find really, really interesting, which it's gonna explain to you the masculine and feminine paradigm of the different personality, the 16 personalities, but it's also gonna explain to you why there's so many people who are transsexual. It's basically, I'm gonna explain to you where transsexuality and also homosexuality comes in if you want to look at it from a MBTI personality lens. So this is basically an explanation for you guys of masculinity, femininity, transsexuality, and homosexuality as far as the MBTI personalities are concerned. So let's get started with some of the basics. I have to explain some of the basic things for you guys as far as masculine and feminine is concerned, and then I can jump on to explain my theory about homosexuality and transsexuality. So bear with me, guys. Man, I'm having a moment right now. I'm feeling a bit like a genius, but I'm tooting my own horn. I don't think I'm a genius. I just had this pretty clever idea, and I wanted to share with you guys. It's not much, but let's see. So anyway, basically, first things first, we can divide the 16 personalities into the most masculine and into the least masculine, i.e., the most feminine. And then there's personalities which are in between, which are these ones. These are somewhat feminine. These are the females, and these are somewhat masculine. So these are the males. So anyway, you can divide all of these personalities into the most masculine, i.e., the men, the real men. Because, in society, you make a distinction between a man and a male the same way that you make a distinction between a woman and a female. In language, when you talk of a woman, you mean someone who is extremely feminine. And when you're talking about a female, it's like, yeah, she's female, but she's not necessarily a woman. She doesn't have that femininity that would make her into a woman. The same thing with a man. When you make a distinction between a male and a man, you're basically saying that he's a male. Yeah, he has that masculine drive and energy, but he's not completely all the way masculine that he would be a man, considered to be a man. So we make a distinction between a man, a real man, and a male. But I'm not going to get bogged down into like the biological aspect of this, like as far as gender is concerned. I'm talking more about personality. So this dictates more of your. I'm talking more about like masculine energy. Like this is the manly energy and the male energy, the female energy, the woman energy. But it does matter because what the distinction that is made between a man and a male is basically based on their personality. We tend to say that somebody is a man as opposed to a male when he shows certain characteristics in his personality. Anyway, guys, so we have here a distinction. We have a man, somebody who is extremely masculine, very masculine. They lead a life where their cognitive functions are both masculine, so they're leading up with a lot of masculine energy. Then we have the males, people who are mostly masculine, but they have some feminine elements in them. Females, mostly feminine, but they have some masculine energy in them. And women, who are mostly feminine, well, not mostly, they are totally feminine all the way. So these people would have two of their main two functions, their leading functions are both extremely feminine. So I'm going to here have to explain to you that there is the primary function and there is the auxiliary function. So for example, if you want to look at an example between an ENTJ who is a male and an ISTP who is a man, the primary function in ENTJ is extroverted thinking, or TE, which is masculine. And the auxiliary function in ENTJ is NI, introverted intuition, which is feminine, right? So that's what makes an ENTJ male. And it's also the reason why an ISTP is considered to be a full-on man, have that manly energy, is because his primary function, the TI, the introverted thinking, and the extroverted sensing, which is the auxiliary function, are both masculine functions. So let's look here. What are the masculine functions? The masculine functions are things that relate to either thinking or sensation. Because if you think of a man, they have to think and sense things, as opposed to the feminine energy, which is based on feeling and intuition. We consider intuition in most cultures to be feminine, and feeling, of course, is definitely feminine. So masculine would be extroverted thinking, extroverted sensation, and introverted sensation. And feminine would be extroverted feeling, extroverted intuition, and introverted intuition. Back to this little chart that I made here. The men are ESTP, ISTJ, ESTJ, and ISTP. The males are the ISFJ, INTP, ESFP, and ENTJ. The females are ESFJ, INTJ, ENTP, and ISFP. And the women are ENFP, INFJ, INFP, and ENFJ. Funny thing, you notice something here really interesting off the bat, which is that the woman, the most feminine energy or personalities, they're all diplomats. They're all NF. They're all empaths. These are the empaths or the NF. And this is basically telling us that it is technically a good thing for a woman to be an empath. I mean, it's associated with victimhood and a lot of things. They get targeted by narcissists and all that kind of stuff. But it is technically a good thing to be an empath if you're a woman. Obviously, if you're biologically male, you wouldn't want to be in this category. You would definitely not want to be an empath because most people will just perceive you as being extremely woman-like. And I'm going to get to this later as far as transsexuality is concerned and transvestites and that kind of stuff. But this is just talking about your energy. Obviously, this is your personality. This has nothing to do with your biological gender. You could be a female ESTJ, but you can also be a biological male who has the personality of, let's say, INFP or INFJ. And I've actually met men in this category. Actually, somebody that I know pretty closely is an INFJ. He's a male. He's a biological male, but he is an INFJ. It's so funny. His woman always criticized how he was like a total woman, like a total girl. And I also knew somebody before he was a dude. He was a guy, but he had when tested, he came out with ENFJ. He was an EFJ, and he was very, very, very feminine. He actually told me once that he believes that women are superior to men and men destroy everything. Men are the destroyers. Men destroy everything. Men just kill and rape and pillage, and women are so amazing angels because of their feminine energy. So you oftentimes find this with these types of extremely feminine personalities. They tend to glorify femininity and try to downplay masculinity. Whilst when you meet these types, like if you meet an ESTP, definitely somebody like Donald Trump, he is an ESTP, definitely seen as extremely masculine. He's a total man. He's a man's man. He glorifies masculinity. He goes around saying, grab him by the pussy, that kind of stuff. Very masculine, exuding that kind of masculine energy. Likes to fuck bang a lot of women. Is a proponent of the patriarchy. Doesn't like feminism. Doesn't like liberalism. Doesn't like everything that is associated with female energy. So I hope I explained this to you guys now in a way that makes sense. So again, if you ask me what are these based on, this classification is based on the primary and the auxiliary function. And I explained to you what our masculine functions are, and this is the feminine functions. So how you determine whether the personality is a man or a male or a female or a woman is basically you look at the primary and the secondary function. If they are both masculine, then you have a man. If the first one is masculine, the second one is feminine, you have a male. If the first one is feminine, but the second one is masculine, then you have a female. So that would be like an ENTP or an INTJ. INTJ is a good example. They start out with introverted intuition, but it's followed up with TE. TE is very masculine. But introverted intuition, the first function, is definitely feminine. So these are females that we're talking about. It's quite funny because INTJ, gender wise, males that are born who have this personality of INTJ, they're usually seen as females, and ENTPs as well, and ISFPs and ESFJ. Anyway, yeah. So what I'm really getting at here now is I'm going to talk to you about what this means as far as transsexuality is concerned and homosexuality is concerned. So, what is transsexuality when you look at it from the lens of the MBTI characteristics or the MBTI personalities? Well, transsexuality is basically when you have somebody who is born. Now, guys, these people may not act on their inner transsexuality. They may not actually go and get a sex change. They may not actually cross-dress. They may not do these things. They may not go as far as to get a sex change, but they definitely would be thinking about it. It would definitely be an issue for them. They have a gender dysphoria, which may or may not lead to actual changing their gender. But the transsexuality is coming from this. What is it? So it's when you have somebody who is biologically male, but they're here in this category. They have the woman. They have a womanly personality. So you find like a man, sorry, not a man, a male, a biological male who is an ENFP or an INFJ or an INFP or an ENFJ. These are very likely to have transsexual tendencies because you have somebody who is functioning with very, very feminine, mostly predominantly feminine cognitive functions, and their personality is extremely feminine. But they are biologically male. So they are very likely to start thinking at some point, hey, look, I feel like a woman inside. I should get a sex change. I shouldn't be, I shouldn't follow the sort of the biological gender that I was given by nature. Maybe because I feel like a woman, maybe it's better for me to get a sex change to actually become a woman, to fit my extremely feminine personality. And the same way, you can have a woman, someone who is biologically a woman, but they are either ESTP or ISTJ or ESTJ or ISTP, and they would feel like a man. Inside, they feel like a man. It had that whole butch or tomboy phenomenon. So it's a biological woman, but she's an ESTP or an ISTJ or an ESTJ or an ISTP. So she feels inside like a total man. And she thinks, man, FTM, female to male. And they go and they do that surgery and they become men. Anyway, so this is where transsexuality is coming from. And it's just funny, guys, because I am in this category. I am, let me just do this. I am actually, this is my personality. I'm an ESTJ. So as an ESTJ, I am biologically male, but I also have a very manly, very masculine personality because my primary function is TE followed by SI, and these are both masculine functions. So I'm functioning with TESI, which is very masculine. Anyway, guys, so yeah, this is just managed to we still got a little bit, like 5 minutes, but anyway, I managed to explain to you the classifications between masculine and feminine, and where this is coming from and how it's being judged. It's being judged by the functions, the primary and auxiliary functions. But I'm also managed to explain to you where the transsexuality is coming from. And guys, you are going to believe what I'm saying, because if you look at it, and I bet you, if you look at all the people who did a sex change operation, you're going to find a lot of times that this chart has a lot to do with it. So if somebody gets a sex change, somebody who is a male gets a sex change, it is very likely that they are in this category. They have an inner female or woman energy, right? And if it's a biological female, someone who is born as a woman, and she gets a sex change and becomes a man, it is very likely that she was, in her personality at least, she was somewhere in this category. So she's either a male or a man, but either way, she decides that she has too much masculine personality and energy, and she decides, fuck it, I'm gonna become a man. I'm actually gonna go through with this and get a sex change and become a man. This is usually, you will find it. Like if you go out there and test this, test the MBTI personality of all the people that are transsexual, and I mean the people that actually go through with the surgeries to change their sex, but even the people who are cross-dressing, the lady boys, that kind of stuff, you would often find that what I'm saying here is definitely true. So it's not just about your biological gender. This gender dysphoria, that they feel that their gender doesn't fit their actual biological gender, is coming from this. It's coming from the energy of the personality, that doesn't fit their biological gender. Guys, believe me, this is true 100%. And I would love for it to be tested, because I know for a fact this has to be fucking true. For example, think about it this way: like, when do you ever see a woman who is an ESTP or an ISTJ or an ESTJ or an ISTP? It's very rare to find a woman that has these personalities. There are some, but it's rare. You don't see it all the time. And the same way with men, you rarely find a man that has an INFJ or ENFP or INFP or ENFJ. Even if they do, they are not, probably have some issues with their gender identity. They probably feel a bit dysphoric as far as their identity is concerned. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does exist. But, it's just that this personality these personalities tend to favor men. You tend to find them in a lot of, mostly in the men. You don't find it in women as much, just because they're very masculine personalities. So you'd expect to find it in men more than women. What is homosexuality? It's when you're attracted to somebody who is in the same category as you. So, for example, if you're an ISTJ and you're attracted to a woman who is an ESTP or an ISTP, or even an ENTJ or INTP, that's too masculine for you. So that might suggest that you have some homosexual tendencies. I'm not saying that you may definitely be a homosexual, but you might have some homosexual tendencies. So, for example, a lot of people say, "Oh man, a dude who is an ENTJ should marry an INTP woman." Nah, very bad recommendation. Actually, an ENTJ should be dating an ISFP woman. And actually, I am going to make a separate video to explain this. But anyway, you notice something. For example, you have an ISTP. If you flip all the letters, what do you get? You get an ENFJ. That's the opposite of an ISTP. And baha, look at this. ISTP is man, and ENFJ is all the way here. It's a woman. Again, you flip ENTJ, you get ISFP, male to female, a male attracted to a female. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it and it was useful to you guys. And if you like it, like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one.